London Oxford Street is possibly London's most famous street. It might even be the most famous street in the UK, but I'll leave that for you to decide. And today we're going to be trying out some of the overhyped things that I've seen on Oxford Street and working out if they're actually worth the hype or if they're actually just a bit of a scam. Hello, I'm Eliza and I'm a disabled person who lives in London, and I make content all about disability awareness, LGBTQ+ positivity and lovely London videos like this. And today we're going to be testing out some of the overhyped things that I've seen on Oxford Street. Honestly, these things have been all over my For You page constantly every single day. So it's been absolutely critical and crucial that I come and try them out. And then I'm going to rate them for you. Some of the things that we're going to be trying today are the Jellyat experience in Selfridges, the Twist Museum, the Poetry Pharmacy inside Lush, 500,000 Coffee, which apparently sell this amazing hot chocolate, which I'm so excited to try, and lots of other things. And you're going to come along with me, and then at the end I'm going to rate them for you after each experience, and then right at the end of the video we're going to see what rated best and what rated worst, and decide together whether or not we think that these things are worth the hype or if actually they're just a bit overhyped and a bit of a scam and a bit expensive. Because if you didn't know, London Oxford Street is very, very pricey. We just tried to park in a car park and it was going to save £56 for 4 hours of parking. That's the kind of prices that we're talking about here. So these experiences, along with the fact that we're in the most expensive area in London, come with a pretty hefty price tag. So let's find out together if they're actually worth the price and if I would recommend that you come and pay and experience it too. So let's get going. So what actually is Oxford Street and why would somebody come here? Well, basically Oxford Street is a really long road. It's 1.2 miles to be exact, and it starts at Tottenham Court Road and ends at Marble Arch. And basically it's just a super long road that is full of shops. There is pretty much every shop that you could imagine under the sun on this street. So as a result, it is very, very popular for tourists, and also because there's lots of tourists here, it's very busy. Now, I'm a Londoner, I live in London. I personally do not come to Oxford Street very often. I find it quite overwhelming, quite busy. Although today, actually, is quite quiet, which is lovely, but it can be very overwhelming, very busy. Christmas time, it is absolute hell. You cannot move, it's too much, can't cope. So actually, I avoid it because it's not the best place in my opinion to go shopping, and just for me, it's too busy. But I'm actually open to maybe change that opinion after today. If these experiences are really fun and enjoyable, maybe I'll absolutely love it and I'll think that I'll come here more often. Are these experiences actually worth going to, and are they possible to do in a day? We're going to find all that out together, but that is why somebody would come to Oxford Street, because basically it's really, really good shopping, and as a result, tourists love it. It's very famous. It's basically a London landmark. It's one of the things that you should probably tick off at some point in your life if you're coming to London, in my opinion. So yeah, we're going to find out together if I think that my opinion changes and if I think that these experiences are worth it and if they're doable all in a day. Okay, up first we have the Poetry Pharmacy in Lush. I didn't know that this was a thing, but it's basically a pharmacy, apparently, according to the internet, that gives you poetry instead of medicine. And now we know that words can be healing in their own way, I suppose. So maybe this works. Maybe it gives you a bit of joy or prescribes you some love or some feels that you can, you know, hold closely. I don't know, I'm not really an English person or a poetry person, but maybe that's about to change. So it's inside Lush. Here is the massive Lush that's on Oxford Street. I love this Lush. It's got all the amazing bath bombs in it. I love Lush. My favourite shop. Lush, please sponsor me. Side note. Anyway, so it's upstairs in Lush. We're going to go inside and see what it's like, see what they prescribe. I've seen this so many times on my For You page. Everybody's talking about this. Everybody's saying go to the Lush Poetry Pharmacy, go and get some poetry prescribed to you. So I'm very excited to see what they give me and if this is worth an experience. I don't even know if you have to pay for this. I don't know how it works. I have no clue. We're going to go and find out together. So I made my way into Lush and to the back to go in the lift up to the Poetry Pharmacy. It's towards the back of the top floor of Lush, and actually I bumped into one of my lovely friends who turns out to be working in the Poetry Pharmacy, which was a complete coincidence. So I had a chat with her about what the Poetry Pharmacy is, how it all works, and she let me know. Okay, we're at the Poetry Pharmacy and I'm with the lovely Ellie, who's going to explain how this all works, what's going on and what it is really. So take it away.
Thank you. So we are the world's first poetry pharmacy. We prescribe prescribe a variety of different poetry pills for various ailments. And this is the selection we have on our Oxford Street shop. We also have another location in Bishop's Castle, which is our original shop. But here we have everything, and it's alphabetized up, down, and so forth. So you've got everything from slow down to joy to indecision. Yeah, we've got a range of pills, and also poisons in another cabinet over there.
Oh, well, are the poisons for feeling a bit naughty?
Yeah, if you're feeling a bit naughty, a bit of a darker mood, a bit of embracing. We embrace all of the emotions here, so that's quite nice.
I love that. Nothing's off limits. No. Okay, I think I need a bit of joy.
Yeah, cool.
Is there a joy vial? Oh, there is.
There is.
Right.
So we have this one, Joy, which is our large size.
Yes.
We also have a small one, and we also have a special one, Joy Us, which is all about queer joy specifically.
Oh. Yeah. I'm going to go for queer joy.
Yeah.
We need some queer joy.
We do.
After what's going on in the media at the moment. So.
For sure. Good choice.
Thanks. Of course. I'm very excited.
Once I caught up with the lovely Ellie, we then carried on looking around the poetry pharmacy, and I absolutely fell in love with this. There were just so many little details of having a poison cabinet, having remedies available, having various different books so that you could go to a mood that you were feeling and pick up a poetry book and read about it and learn more about yourself. It was so interesting. They even had a cafe at the back. It wasn't open at the time that we went, but I just thought that was so nice. You could go and get cake during the day and sit down and read a book with a coffee. Just absolutely perfect. And all of the staff that worked there were so lovely and so supportive. And then when I went to go and pay for my poetry, the person behind the till actually wrote me out their own, I assume, a poem. I don't know, we still need to read it, but they wrote me out a note on a prescription form, which I thought was really interesting as well. And just the whole experience was so cool, an interesting thing to have in the back of Lush. I do feel like it's a little hidden gem. Also, little side note, by the way, Lush actually has a disabled toilet on the top floor, so if you're ever there and caught out, you can nip to the loo.
Okay, we just finished at the poetry pharmacy, and what an experience that was. First of all, a lovely Lush staff member came up to me and gave me this lovely rainbow bath bomb for free, which is so nice. They said that it matched my outfit, which I agree. I am a rainbow at all times, to be honest, because I'm wearing a very cute rainbow jumper on underneath, which I thought was really, really lovely. But the actual poetry pharmacy, oh my goodness, what an experience. This is so nice, just in the middle of Oxford Street, just this little moment of creativity. As I said before I went in, I'm not really a poetry person. I didn't really know what to expect, but I really enjoyed that experience. It was really relaxing. The staff were absolutely lovely. I got to speak to a lovely staff member called Ellie, who explained what was going on. And I got my poetry prescription, which comes in this really cute prescription bag, which I think is really nice. And they also write you a little personalized message. I assume it's going to be poetry. When I get home, I will get it out and then we can read it through together. But I just thought that was such a nice experience, really original, and it was really quiet in there, which was really nice. So it felt really, really personal. And just overall, I think that is absolutely something that you should go and do. You can go and get a lovely bath bomb, a gift, and then go and get some poetry, do a bit of reading, buy a book, and also support a smaller business that's on Oxford Street, which is so nice to see. They said that they only have 2 shops in total, one here and one in Bishopsgate, so quite a small business, and so really nice to be able to financially support them and doing something quite different as well, which I think is amazing to see. So yeah, I definitely recommend that one. My rating for that is 10 out of 10, baby. I love that. Brilliant, fun. You should go support this lovely poetry pharmacy. Okay, so here is my bag from the poetry pharmacy. I'm really intrigued to see what they actually wrote in my prescription, because they wrote a little prescription for me. I really like the fact that the little vials of poetry come in these bags. They look like a prescription bag that you get from your local pharmacy. That's a really, really nice touch. It says on the back here, handmade, no bitter pills, no adverse reactions, and easy to swallow metaphorically. Pill capsules are filled with poetic solace and strips on paper, not suitable for children, which I think is really nice. I just love this packaging, this attention to detail, this like the fact that they've used this font that looks like it's been stamped on. Just, oh, whoever designed this would have had such a nice time doing it. So let's have a look what they have written on my prescription, which again, I think is a really nice touch to give someone an actual prescription, and it looks like a
prescription slip as well, which is really nice. So on the prescription it reads, one poem to be read every afternoon, get cozy on the sofa, take time for yourself and enjoy with a Diet Coke. And then they have signed it at the bottom. So I wasn't sure if they'd actually written me a poem or not, but this isn't a poem, this is just like an instruction on how to actually take it. But they did ask me some questions about things that I like to do, where I like to spend my time and places that I like to relax. And so it was really, really personal to me. And now we have the vial of different types of poetry inside of these pill capsules, which is really, really cool. I need to be able to get one out because this is slightly fiddly. Let me try and do it this way. Nope, they do not come out this way.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I finally got one open, thank goodness. They are really crammed in there, which is interesting. And it is a proper pill. I don't even know, this might even be like a real pill capsule. It feels like it. Anyway, let's open up one of these poems and read it. This isn't going very well. But I read my book, felt like who I was meant to be, in the top front seat in my jacket and jeans, through the fairy-lit towns of the north, all the way home. And that's by Elizabeth Gibson, which is really nice. So each of these pills will have a little strip of writing like this, and each of them is a little poem to kind of cheer you up throughout the day, which I think is really cool.
Okay, up next, we're now in Primark, which you might be thinking, how is that any different to anything else that's not particularly overhyped? There's Primarks everywhere. Well, apparently inside this Primark, there is actually a cheeky Greggs. If you didn't know, Greggs is a bakery. They sell all sorts of bakery things, baked goods, pasties, pizzas, all sorts. And basically there is a Greggs inside this Primark, which is kind of random. Apparently it's on the top floor, and there's lots of various different like slides and swings and things like that, according to my For You page, because this Greggs has been all over my For You page. So we're gonna go inside and see what there is together. It's getting pretty late into the evening now. Apparently this Greggs closes at 9, so I'm not sure what's gonna be left, but we're hoping to get something yummy for our dinner. It's not going to be a big long Greggs review, it's more about the review of the actual experience. Is this a good Greggs? Is this a better Greggs to go to than like your bog standard normal Greggs? Let's go in and find out together.
So I made my way through Primark up to the top floor, and then I found the Greggs, which was right next to the lift. I was a little bit disappointed when I showed up because lots of things were shut. So they had really cute tables and a swing, but they weren't open, I assume because we kind of went... We didn't go that near closing time, to be honest. We went about 7 p.m. and it closed at 9, but they were shut, so maybe they were just shut for the day. I don't know what was going on, but that was a bit disappointing. And essentially, I didn't really see anything that different about it. I went up to the counter and ordered a drink and a sausage roll. The staff were really, really lovely, and so it was easy to find. They had a lift, so it was easy to get up to the Greggs.
Okay, just finished it in the Greggs. To be honest, it's not really anything special. They've got a few cool props in there, a swing and some cute tables. I thought that there was like a cool slide, but I think maybe I made that up. But overall, it was not great because quite a lot of those things were shut. I think because we came a bit later in the day, it just meant that we weren't able to use them, which is a bit frustrating, but I get it. But overall, it's just pretty bog standard Greggs. I probably wouldn't recommend that over any of the other Greggs that you could go to. They sell all the same foods pretty much. So yeah, I would maybe give that like a 3 out of 10. It wasn't anything bad, but nothing special overall. The only different thing is that it's in a Primark, but yeah, the staff were nice. That's kind of it. Not much else to say about it really. Next, we're going to be going into the Twist Museum, which has come up on my For You page so many times, and all the videos look like they're so fun inside, so I'm really excited about this one. It opened in 2022 and it's £20 a ticket according to the website, and it's basically a museum that's designed to twist your senses and your experience of reality. So I think it's going to be lots of things of lots of different sizes. Apparently it's completely step-free inside and wheelchair accessible, so we're going to go inside and see what it's actually like. I'm very excited about this one, and I have checked. They said that I'm allowed to film in there, and actually they said that they encourage it because sometimes things look better on the camera compared to in real life, which is interesting. I do think that it's fairly expensive at £20. Luckily you do get a carer ticket if you are disabled, so for me it would be £20, but if you are somebody that doesn't have a disability, then you'd be looking at paying with, you know, 2 tickets, so like 40 quid, and it says online that it can take up to an hour, so that's quite expensive in my opinion. But you know, I haven't done it yet, I've never tried it, so we're going to go in and see what it's like, and we're going to experience it together, and then we're going to come out and rate it and chat about my experience and if I liked it and if I thought it was worth the money. So let's get going inside.
So I made my way into the Twist Museum, and then I had to take the lift downstairs to then buy my ticket. I then went to the accessible bathroom that they had. This was so nicely decorated. I don't think I've ever seen an accessible bathroom be decorated so nicely. I loved all the colours and I was so excited to go into this museum. We then went through this really cute rainbow archway. I'm absolutely in my element in a rainbow room. And then immediately from like rainbow went into dull colours, and they basically were using lighting to make it look like there was no colour in the room, which I thought was really, really interesting. There was then like so many different illusion things to look at, from rooms that were really, really colourful and like lights that were using RGB so that you could see yourself reflected in like multiple ways. They had kaleidoscope illusions so that you could put your head in a kaleidoscope and then suddenly there was 500 of you. They had moving images that you had to use colourful paddles to put over your face, and then when you actually look through the paddle you could then see a different thing through the painting. They had so many interactive things to do, and I found it very wheelchair accessible pretty much. There were a couple of attractions that I couldn't do just because they were like so steep to get inside, and I tried and just was terrified. So I was like, actually I don't think I'm going to do any others. I think I'm just going to stick to the ones that are okay for me to navigate. But overall it was pretty quiet in there and there was lots of things to do. I will say that there were a couple of like things that were under maintenance, so I couldn't actually do them, but overall it was really cool. There were just so many different illusions. It did feel a bit weird, like I got a bit dizzy at some points, and they did like a hologram of me and then I could email it to myself, which was quite cool I suppose. But overall I did feel a little bit dizzy and a bit weird and a bit funny while I was looking around. I then stumbled across this like massive painting of Converse, which looked 3D in your eyes but actually was 2D, which I thought was really cool. So there are just so many amazing cool things in this exhibition, which was really nice, and overall I found it very accessible, easy to navigate, and it was pretty quiet as well. I would say that we were in there for like 40 minutes probably, so like not that long. It wasn't like we were in there for hours at a time. You could have definitely stayed for longer, but I would say we were in there about 40 minutes in total to be able to see all the exhibition. So it's not like massive, but it's not tiny either. And yeah, it was fun, very accessible and easy to navigate, and lots of very cool illusions.
Okay, so we just finished at the Twist Museum, and here are my overall thoughts. First of all, I think that it's pretty accessible in there. They've put a lot of thought into the access. They have an accessible bathroom. It's pretty easy to navigate all of the different things in there if you're a wheelchair user, which is great. I will say that I do think it's pretty pricey. Online, I read that it was £20, but they charged me £24.95 when I was down there, which is quite a lot of money. And as I said at the beginning, I do get a free carer's ticket, so that's pretty pricey. If you're going with your whole family, you'd be looking at quite a lot of money. And that brings me on to the next thing, which is that it's not the biggest museum in the world. It's pretty small. I would say that you could probably do it in an hour to an hour and 15 at a push, I would say, if you were going through like every single exhibit that they have. So it's pretty quick to get through overall, but I do think that it's quite fun. There's lots to do in there. It's got loads of different illusions. There's lots of different things to see. It takes you through a journey as well, and there's things in there that I haven't seen before in other museums. It's not the best illusion exhibition that I've been to ever, but it is pretty good, and I do think that it's quite a fun thing to do. And also it's quite fun that it's here on Oxford Street, and I like the fact that we've got art literally in the middle of this big shopping road, which is what it's known for, but yet there's this little moment of just creativity, art and colour, which I think is really nice to be able to experience. So overall, what would I rate it? Drum roll please. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10, which I think is quite a high rating. The only thing that knocked it down really is just the size, which there's not really much they can do about that, and the price, because it's pretty expensive. Obviously we are on Oxford Street, which is going to be expensive, but it is pretty pricey in my opinion overall for what you get for your money. There are a couple of exhibits that were out of order or under maintenance, so yeah, overall I think it's a good experience, but just pretty pricey. pricey and a bit small. Just jumping in here quickly to talk to you about Patreon. Patreon is a platform where you can financially support creators, and in return you get loads of amazing perks, like early access to these YouTube videos, access to exclusive Patreon merch, access to behind the scenes content, access to a really cringy old YouTube archive list of mine, so many other things. If you sign up, everybody automatically gets this lovely Sharky pin, and if you sign up to one of the tiers, you even get this lovely t-shirt. Patreon allows me to be able to work more freely because being a disabled creator is really difficult with algorithms, and I call mine the Radiant Rainbow Club. So if you want to join the club and support my work and meet lots of amazing like-minded people, check out my Patreon in the link below. Up next is the one that you've all been waiting for. I know it. It is the Jellyat experience in Selfridges. They have a really cute fish and chip shop in Selfridges where you can go and get a little Jellyat. Apparently you can only buy these Jellyats in store. Now, I don't actually own any Jellyats, I know, shock horror, but it's just the price of the toys are pretty expensive, and as a result I just haven't really bought one before because I've just thought that they're just a little bit out of my budget. But that's going to change today because we're going to go and buy 3 Jellyats as long as they've got them in stock, and I'm going to be getting the whole set that you get. And in the experience, you basically get to have your fish and chips and mushy peas Jellyat cooked for you in front of you with amazing staff members basically cooking it for you. At least that's what it looks like. This one has been all over my For You page. Honestly, I've had it so many times, and trying to get an appointment for this place was pretty difficult. They didn't have that many available. They only had one right in the evening, which is why we're here pretty late in the day. So let's go and experience it together. Apparently it's in the Jellyat section, which is on the top floor of Selfridges, I think, and it looks so cute in there. They look like they've got so many different Jellyats, and I'm so excited to see it and experience it finally for myself. I'm hoping that I have the amazing staff members that I've seen online because they just look absolutely incredible, and that the experience is as good as it says it is. You get like the Jellyats in this really cute fish and chip bag afterwards, and they give you pins and stickers and all of these different things. So it looks really cute. I'm excited. Feels like it's going to be right up my street, so let's go in and find out.
Okay, I made my way into Selfridges and then up to the top floor. All of these experiences seem to be on the top floor for some reason. It seems to be really common that we're going all the way to the top floor, which is what we were doing in Selfridges. Made my way over to the Jellyat experience. The first thing that I noticed, obviously this is a fish and chip experience, so you're buying fish and chip Jellyats, and the first thing that I noticed is that it smelled like fish and chips. They were obviously like pumping fish and chips through the air, so you could smell like, you know, that like greasy smell that you get when you walk into a fish and chip shop. That's what it smelled like across that area, which I thought was really, really interesting. I was like, this smells like a fish and chip. It really like gets you immersed into the experience. So I had booked a slot, but they were accepting walk-ins and it wasn't very busy. I just kind of walked straight through, and then they gave me a menu to look through. So I was looking through the menu, and the menu basically lets you pick between one toy or all 3 toys. So you can get chips, fish, and mushy peas. You can get them all individually, or you can get them together in a set for £130, which is what I paid for 3 Jellyats. After I'd picked what I wanted, I was then called forward. As I say, there wasn't a long line. It was really easy. It was just like a couple of people in front of me. They called me forward, and I met my lovely actor, sales associate. I'm not sure what you would call them, but the person that was working there that was going to navigate me through my experience. The first thing that they did was ask for my name. So they wrote my name, and then they printed out a sticker, which then they would ask me to stick on for each of the Jellyats so that they kind of had my input for it. They also asked me if I wanted to put salt, pepper, lemon and vinegar on my various different items, and that was like with the toys. So I did that, which was nice. And then when we came to the chips, they asked me to like wake up the chips because they were like, oh, the chips have been sleeping for ages, you need to wake them up. So I did that, and then essentially they then put it all in a bag and I was on my way. I really like the fact that they made it like a personal and interactive experience, which is really nice, and I didn't feel rushed at all. It wasn't like I felt that I needed to get out the way or that somebody was waiting behind me and that I needed to be as quick as possible. I did feel like I could have as much time as I wanted with them, obviously without like being there for ages, but I didn't feel rushed in any way, and it did feel like a really special experience that was tailored to me, which I really, really liked. And then after I picked up my 3 lovely new Jellyats, my first Jellyats to ever own, I then had a look around the store, and they had like various different big versions of the cats, the Jellyats that you can buy for the fish and chip, which was nice. I would say that the whole shop there is pretty much focused around the fish and chip experience. That's kind of what you're there for, to get those fish and chips. But there wasn't a long line, and I had a great experience with my staff member.
So I have just finished with the Jellyat experience, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. It's a sweet little experience in Selfridges. It is fun, but overall for me it's just pricey. It's expensive for what you get, and I thought it was going to be going in. I think the Jellycats are quite expensive. I understand that they're expensive. I understand that people love them. Just for me, they're just too expensive and not in my budget, and that's okay. The actual toys are cute, and that's enough. I think that the actual experience, there wasn't a really long line. It was really easy to get in, and the staff were wonderful. They were really lovely, really kind, really supportive, got me to get involved. They weren't weird about the fact that I'm an adult, and it's very obviously tailored for kids, which is one thing that I would definitely say. And so I think that the experience was a good one. I think that if you're a kid and you like Jellycats, this would be an amazing experience. And with the kids, they spent a lot of time with them. They were with them for a good while, asking them to do different things, asking them to wake up the chips, sing to the fish, catch the mushy peas, all these different tasks that they got them to do. And it didn't matter if you were buying one toy or 3 toys, you kind of got the same experience no matter what, really. So what would I rate this out of 10? Well, the experience was quite quick. I was probably only in there for about 10 minutes, which I mean isn't the quickest, but it's not like it was a super long experience, and it was expensive, so I probably wouldn't do it again personally. I don't really see the appeal of doing that again. Would I recommend it for you to do? I think if you're a big Jellycats fan and you collect them and you want these particular ones, because you can only get these Jellycats inside Selfridges, you can't get them online as far as I'm aware. So if you love Jellycats, I think that that could be an experience worth paying for. Would I recommend it for you? I think if you love Jellycats, then yes. If you're kind of like me and not a massive fan, I would probably say no. So I think I'm going to rate this a 6 out of 10 for those reasons, that it's just a bit expensive. If you're not a massive fan, it's probably not the best experience, but I cannot fault the staff. They were wonderful. The person that had me did mine was so nice, really lovely, really supportive. So yeah, overall it was a good experience, just a bit expensive for me.
Okay, so it's the next day, and I thought that we could explore what you get inside the Jellycat fish and chip bag. So first of all, obviously you have all your toys in this really cute fish and chip packaging. You also get 3 pins if you buy the 3 set, so the chips, the fish and the mushy peas. So then you get a chips, a fish and a mushy peas pin. You also get stickers, but they had run out of stickers when I went, but they did put it on the receipt that I could come back and get the stickers as and when I was able to. And then inside the actual bag, this packaging is really cute. It really does look like a fish and chips bag. You get 2 pegs to close it up, depending on what you seem to buy, depending on the amount of pegs that you got. It's one thing that I noticed when I was in there. Okay, let's open some of these really cute Jellycats. I really like that the paper looks like the paper that you get when you buy fish and chips. Like when you get chips in like a vintage style fish and chip shop, they always wrap it in like old newspaper, because that's how they used to do fish and chips. So let's see what we've got first. Oh, look at these little beans. We have 2 little peas in a pod, and my dog, who's also called Pod, is very interested in these little peas. Hi. Hi. Right, moving on to the next one. Let's open this up. I think this one's going to be the fish. When they gave me the fish, they had the fish's legs were like wrapped up in some paper. Oh yeah, they still are wrapped up in some paper. I don't know why that is. It looks like a little cast for the fishy's legs. Here's the fish. Here's the fish, and I will take off the little cast on their legs. If you know why Jellycat wrap up the little legs, you can let me know in the comments, because I'm a new Jellycat fan buyer. But this is very, very soft and fluffy and very sweet as well. Let's open the final one. They are cute, basically what they've marketed themselves on. Right, opening up the final one, which of course is going to be our chippies. When I did the chippies, she was asking me to wake up the chippies. They asked me to sing to the chippies to wake them up, which I thought was really nice, like kind of getting me involved. And here are the chippies. Now, these chippies are also wrapped in the same newspaper print that they use on the outside packaging. I really like that attention to detail that I see in Jellycats. There's lots of things that run through the brand. I used to be a graphic designer, so I appreciate that branding. But these are the chips, and they're very sweet as well. They're made with this same fleecy fabric as the fish. So these are our 3 Jellycats that we got: the fish, the the peas and the chips, and they were £130 in total.
Okay, moving on next to 500,000 coffee. So I'm actually not here for coffee. I know, shocking. I'm actually here because all over my For You page, I have seen this amazing hot chocolate they apparently make with 4 different types of chocolate. It looks absolutely fantastic. It looks super yummy. I'm so excited to try it. I love chocolate. I'm a sweet tooth. I love hot chocolate, although it is kind of warm today and we are moving into spring. So I'm more of like a hot chocolate person in the middle of winter. But apparently this hot chocolate is so good, it doesn't matter when you drink it. So we're gonna go in and try it. I'm a little nervous. Let me tell you why I'm a little nervous. It's because there's a step to get in. And as you can see, I am a wheelchair user, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get into this one. There is a little button, which I don't think I'm gonna be able to reach, that has a little wheelchair symbol on it, which I assume you're supposed to press and then get them to come out, which I'm not sure if it's gonna happen because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to reach it, but luckily I am with my lovely support worker who is filming this video, who's gonna go in for me if I can't go in. This isn't their fault, it will be the landlord's fault, and they won't be able to get around because the councils, I'm not blaming them. It's just frustrating for me as a wheelchair user when you can't get into buildings that everybody else can get into, and literally it's a little step, but I'm maybe judging too quick. Maybe they will have a ramp, maybe it will be fine. So we're gonna go in and experience it now and hopefully try some very yummy hot chocolate. Let's go.
Okay, so I made my way to the door and I was able just about to ring the very high doorbell. That doorbell was very, very high, and I think for me, because I'm an ambulatory wheelchair user, if you don't know what that means, that basically means that I'm able to stand and walk short distances depending on the day. So I am able to like get up out of my chair. So I was able to bring myself forward, lean forward, and then press the bell. But it was quite a reach, I'm gonna be honest, it was quite far. And I do think that if you were not an ambulatory wheelchair user, or you weren't able to bring yourself forward into your chair, then you wouldn't be able to press that button and then you'd just be sat outside. I don't really love a button to press because you're then just sat there waiting for somebody to see you or respond to the button and you have no idea if the button's worked and all of that. So I don't love it. But in this occasion, I was able to press the button, and then a staff member came out very quickly, and the staff member was absolutely lovely. Really, really helpful, explained what was going to happen, brought out a iPad and then a card machine so I was able to pay, because the amount of times I've been in a shop where I've had to press a bell and they don't have a ramp, and then I have to give this person that I don't know my card for them to tap it, and then they're like, oh, it didn't work, can you give me your PIN number? And it's just not the one. You don't want to be doing that in the middle of Oxford Street, okay? Got to keep your privacy private. You never know who's listening in that area, trust me. Anyway, luckily in this situation, they had a card machine. They were really lovely. They were really helpful. They told me about the different hot chocolates that they had. They have a dark chocolate hot chocolate and a milk chocolate hot chocolate, which is what I went for because I'm a milk chocolate person through and through. I cannot be having dark chocolate personally. I just find it too bitter for my taste. So I had a milky chocolate, and then basically they went off and made the hot chocolate and then brought it out to me. Really simple, really easy, no issue there. I do wish that I was able to go inside, to be honest, because I did feel a little bit othered, but that isn't the staff member's fault. All of the staff that were working there were brilliant. That's just like the management's fault or whoever owns the building in that situation.
Okay, I have my hot chocolate from 500,000 Coffee and we're gonna try it together. It's actually really, really good. It's really nice. It is sweet, but it's got a bit of bitterness from the chocolate. It's not too hot, it's drinkable. It's really nice. The price of this was £3.80, so a little bit on the pricey side, but to be honest, I would say that if you're gonna go into most coffee shops along this street, it's gonna be about that price. Also, I think that this is the best hot chocolate that you're gonna get around, to be honest. It tastes really, really good. It's just super nice, it's creamy, it's just nice. A lot of the time when you go and get hot chocolates from like Pret, Starbucks, Costa, they're using this like really powdery hot chocolate, and then when you drink it you can taste the powder, whereas this is made from like melted liquid chocolate. So it's a good deal, I think, for the price. This is a medium, small. They only had 2 sizes, a medium, small and a large. So £3.80 for a fairly small drink is on the pricier side, but it's nice, it's worth it. I am gonna rate it 9 out of 10. The reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because I couldn't get inside the building, and I do think that it is a rampable building. It's quite a small step, but the staff were absolutely brilliant. They came out, they served me outside. I wasn't left for ages wondering what was going on. They were interactive, they made sure that I was okay. They kept me informed of what was going on. So the staff did an absolutely brilliant job, but I do think that you could get a ramp. Maybe there's some kind of reason that they can't, but I think if it's possible, they should get a ramp, because you can get a ramp for like 200 quid, and then wheelchair users can come and go from this location if they put the ramp down down, because you can get these like fold out ramps that they can put down, because there are rules about putting permanent ramps down, because councils are annoying. But 9 out of 10 in total. I'm going to enjoy this. It's good. It's really nice. I recommend coming here. So the final attraction that we're going to be looking at today is the Outernet, which is basically a room which is a big screen full of digital art. I see this on my For You page all the time. People are always recommending that I go and check it out, but I've never actually been into this building before. I don't know why. I walk past it and have a look, but I think because it looks quite busy, I've never really been that appealed to go in. But I really like the idea of it having accessible art that's literally free to walk into, having digital art so that it can change regularly and you can showcase various different artists, various different types of art. That sounds really, really cool and exciting. It's right next to Tottenham Court Station, so it's really easy to get to. The Elizabeth line comes here and it's fully step free, and the building's also completely wheelchair accessible as well. There's lots of people in there at the moment and they look like they've got like a spring exhibition, so we're going to go in and have a look and see what it's like, see if it's worth checking out when you're here.
Okay, I made my way into the Outernet, and as you can see, it is pretty busy in there. But I was really pleasantly surprised with the amount of different digital art that I saw. I was in there for about 10 minutes and we saw so many different things, from seascapes to really cool optical illusions to just them promoting the actual building. And I was really pleasantly surprised by the amount of people that were in there, and I just thought that the room was nice. It felt like buzzing with creativity. There isn't much to do in there. It's not like there's loads going on. It's not like it's party central in there. It's literally just a room that you go in. It's still quite cold because there's no like doors or anything, but it is a room that you just go in and just sit and watch art for free. There isn't really that much more to say about it than that, but I think it's so important to be able to access art for free, and there's something about that that's so important. Finding art in London for free is pretty easy, in my opinion, but I think that in certain situations, art should be free. It's important. It means that we're able to expand our minds and understandings of what's going on and be creative and just like access media that's different to what you may traditionally be accessing in your spare time. It's not TV, it's not music, it's not something that you can necessarily easily find on your phone, I guess. I mean, technically you can like research it, you know, whatever, but it's not something that I guess maybe people are actively consuming in the same way. But this was just like an accessible way to access art, which felt really nice in my opinion. Also, they have a nice little cafe in one of the rooms so that you can buy like a drink and a sandwich if you want to, and then eat it and relax in there. I think it would be a great place to have lunch if it was raining. I don't actually know if you're allowed to eat in that. You must be allowed to eat in there because there's a cafe, right? But I think if it was pouring rain, it would be an absolutely grand place to get lunch. That would be a really good option.
We just finished in the Outernet. I really like that as an experience. It was quite busy, but it is accessible art, and that is really important. And the screens change a lot, so you get to see lots of different art while you're in there. It's a good place to take cover if it's raining or a bit chilly. And yeah, there's seats in there, you can relax, and they play this really nice, like calming music so that you can really get into the vibe of experiencing the art, and you get to see lots of different things in a short period of time while you're in there. So I think that that's pretty good. It's not my favorite space because it's still quite noisy and there's lots of people in there, which is quite overwhelming. I really like experiencing art in like art galleries where it's a little bit quieter. I am autistic, so that's probably why. I would rate that a 6 out of 10. So yeah, I think it is worth checking it out if you're in London, if you're on Oxford Street, if you want somewhere to just chill out for a little bit, somewhere that's good for kids to have a look at something, then I definitely recommend checking it out. Okay, so we've come to the end of trying out all of the overhyped attractions on Oxford Street, and here are my final thoughts, and then we'll get into the ratings. I actually think a lot of these are pretty good. I enjoyed a lot of them and I had a good day. I definitely think that you could do all of these in one day, and you could probably also like fit them in between your shopping if you're here anyway and you want to do a bit of extra things, and some of them are technically shopping anyway. So I definitely think you could do this in one day. It's pretty easy and accessible to do. The only thing that wasn't the most accessible was getting the hot chocolate in 500,000 coffee, but mainly it's a pretty accessible experience. There's lots of things to try. You get to have new experiences while doing it. So I think if you're in the area, then it's definitely worth coming. I would even say that it's worth coming up even if you weren't planning on coming here to do some of these things. I think it's really nice. The poetry pharmacy is a really cool experience. It's different. You get to have a poem written for you. You get to take a poetry description. Where else do you get to do that? Nowhere else, pretty much. So overall, I actually really liked it, and it did change my opinion on Oxford Street. Actually, I think there's lots of little hidden gems of art that I didn't even realize, and creativity. And as a creative person, that's really exciting to see that you can kind of get these little moments of joy and peace and just, yeah, creativity in such a busy space. Because I sometimes feel like London and the centre of London can feel so overwhelming that it doesn't necessarily feel like the most creative space. But this showed me little pockets of where that is and where these kind of small businesses are that are doing things and creating art to be more accessible. But let's have a look at some of the ratings and see what we have. We're going to rate it from worst to best, because why not, and have a look at what comes in top. So last place, drumroll, Greggs with a 3 out of 10. I just think that's the same as any old Greggs. I don't think there's anything special about that. I don't recommend making a trip there. Just go to any old Greggs. Next, we have the Jellyat experience joined with the Outernet. Both of these, I think the Outernet is worth going to. It's free, so why not? It's just a bit busy, so I think that it is worth going to. The Jellyat experience, I gave it that because of the price, but I think if you love Jellycats, it's worth going. It's a bit of fun, why not? Oh my god, they're showing sharks on the Outernet. Next, we have the Twist Museum with a 7 out of 10. I like this experience. I think it's cool. This is one of those moments where there's a little pocket of art in the middle of Oxford Street. Really, really nice. The only thing that kind of put me off was the size and the price. I do think that's pretty expensive for what you get personally, but I think if you are interested in that thing and you have the spare money, why not? It's just more if there's so many of you going, if like you're a family going, it's going to be pretty expensive, to be honest, in my opinion, when there's lots of free art galleries in London, like the Tate, for example, that you can access completely for free and go and get loads of art. So if you're on a budget and you don't want to spend money in a museum or in a gallery, there are loads of free galleries in London. Please don't be worried about that. And also, they're fairly nearby. You can travel there by public transport very, very easily. If you want me to do a video on all the free places that you can visit various different art and museums, let me know down below, because I could definitely do that. But I do think that it is a cool experience. I understand why they have to charge for it. Not everybody gets fundings, grants, not everyone's a charity, but I just think it's a little bit pricey for me, but I recommend it. I think it's worth it, particularly if you're on Oxford Street anyway. It's a cool thing to go and do. It's a bit different. Next place, we have 500,000 Coffee with that amazing hot chocolate. Got a 9 out of 10. I recommend going here. I think it's really cool. They're doing good things. The hot chocolate's really, really nice. It's really sweet. It's just a nice experience to have. The only thing is it's not that wheelchair accessible. You can't go inside. So if you want to do that, then maybe don't do that. You also can't drink it inside of that cafe. It's takeaway only, which isn't always the best thing, but I do think that you're getting a good product for the money. So for what it is, I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I think it is worth visiting. It's great. Why not go there if you're on Oxford Street anyway? And finally, we have the Poetry Pharmacy with a 10 out of 10. I really recommend going to this. It's a really cool idea. It's a cool experience. You get to read lots of poetry, see lots of books, and that's just a moment where creativity is just flourishing, which is so nice to see. I recommend going just for that, to be honest. If you in the area, I recommend coming over and doing that. It's a cool business to support. It's a really nice idea. They're doing cool things. You get your own little poetry prescription, what's not to love. 10 out of 10, I stick to that. That is in top place and I recommend it. So do I think that these things are overhyped? I think some of them are maybe a bit more overhyped than others. I think the Jellyat experience is a bit overhyped and the Greggs is a bit overhyped, but I think some of them actually deserve the hype. I think 500,000 Coffee deserves the hype. I think the Poetry Pharmacy deserves a hype. I think that the Outernet deserves a hype for what it gets. And I'm really glad that I had this experience. I had a lovely day on Oxford Street and I recommend that you come and do these things too. So there you have it. We tested overhyped things to do on Oxford Street and then I rated them out of 10. Did you agree with my ratings? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you do want to support my work, don't forget to check out my Patreon, the Radiant Rainbow Club, which is in the description. And if you want to follow me outside of YouTube, then you can follow me at Eliza across all social medias, and it's on the screen now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week. Bye.